Hi, I'm Laura, and I have a son, Anthony Robles. He was 30 years old when he took his life.
I'm Miguel Escatine, her husband.
I got pregnant with Marky when I was 15. I was very happy because I finally felt like I had someone that I knew was going to really love me for being me, and someone I could love without any problems, I could say. I had him at 16, and he was a very good baby. He slept good. He wasn't a crier. He very, very good baby. Then as he got a little older, very good kid. Always very responsible. We had him, his father and I got married. We had him when I was 16 and his dad was 17, so we were kids ourselves. And we grew up, he grew up with us, we grew up together. We had him for almost 5 years when his little brother was born. Then his brother came, and he was very happy to have a little brother. I remember coming home with him, and he kissed me and he thanked me. He said, "Mommy, thank you for my little brother. Now I want a little sister." I said, "Whoa, hold on, boy." But you know what? 6 months later it happened. I got pregnant again. But Marky, like I said, I could leave him home. I could go to another room or go outside or whatever. And he was a very good big brother. Very overprotective over his brother and sister. He didn't want anybody coming near them. Or why are you looking at him like that? I could leave him there and know that they would be okay. Even if I went outside to do something, go to the car or whatever. As he got a little older, he actually, since he was a little boy, he would say he could hear things. He heard things, and his dad would say, "Oh, just it's nothing. Just think of something else or do something else." We did notice something different from him than from the other two. As he got older, he had a lot of friends. He had a lot of friends in school. A wonderful student, good grades in elementary. Then as he got into his teenage years, my son was always a little on the heavier side. He would say, "I'm not big." He would say, "I'm not big bone. I'm not fat. I'm just big bone." He would say, but he was a little chunky because his uncle was a little chunky as a kid. So we put him in sports. We put him in soccer, basketball, things that he would run, because we knew baseball he'd just stand there. But he would just watch the ball. Just go by him. He wouldn't run. We're like, "Go, run, Marky." And he didn't like it. He did not like sports. Then he got into jiu-jitsu. He was in jiu-jitsu with his dad since he was like 2 years old. He'd get on his daddy's back, and I would say, "He looks like a little spider monkey on top of you." So that he did like, and he loved to run. Put on his music and go run for miles. He loved to tell jokes. He had a lot of friends. The house was always packed with friends. As he got older, they were always throwing parties. They knew the party house was his house, not my house, his house. One time my daughter and I went to Las Vegas. I think it was around Thanksgiving, to visit my sister. And my daughter says, "Hey Mom, look at this." I was like, "What is that?" It was a party invite, and the address was my house. I said, "Oh my goodness." So I called up his dad. I said, "You better go by the house and see what's going on, because there's a party going on." And he said he got there. The whole house was remodeled. There was no furniture in the living room. Kids were doing all kinds of, I don't know what there. Yeah, as he got older, he got a little bit more, God, he loved that kid, got in trouble so much. But again, he just laughed it off, and it was okay. He got a lot of things taken away from him, as far as his phone, his door, he couldn't go out, and it was just me. I don't want to say I wanted to instill fear in him, but I wanted to know that I meant what I said, and he couldn't do things, even if it was just Mom. He got into some trouble. He had a girlfriend. Oh yes. So the way he started to lose weight was because there was this girl he really liked, and he didn't want to be chunky, so he started running. He started running and kind of watching what he ate, and he started to lose weight. And then he got the girl. He got her. They were together. His first girlfriend, I think he was 15 years old. then he knew he had to be thin, and he's my son, of course. I'm gonna say he was already good looking. He'd bring her by the house, and it was cute. They were together for a little bit. And then I'm at lunch at work one day. She calls me crying that they broke up, and then I start crying with her. And I get home and I said, "That's it. You can't have any more girlfriends, because when you break up, I break up, and I'm crying too." A few really good close friends that were always at the house. They'd leave. They'd go to his house, the other guy's house, and he loved to party. And I'd say, "Son, you need to like buckle down and get going on your future, because all this partying isn't going to help you in the future. I just don't want you to wake up one day and be like, what do I have to offer?" Even yourself, you have to be able to provide for yourself. Of course, he'd always say, "I know, Mama, I know." His brother was 4 years, almost 5 years younger than him, so they kind of really didn't hang out together too much. They weren't really in the same crowd. And whenever my younger son would bring a girl, he's like, "Hey, who's she?" I'm like, "Don't go there. She's way too young for you. You're gonna end up somewhere where you don't want to be." So then that was respected. It was respected. And with his sister, both boys were so overprotective over her. I remember one time a little boy comes to the door. Both of them, and their dad was there at that day, and all three of them look at my daughter like, "Who's he? What is he here for?" And then dad snaps his fingers, and Marky goes to the door. "What do you want? What are you looking for?" And then my daughter says, "Oh, it's not for me. That's Alex's friend." And then he goes, "Oh, I'm here to see Juliet." And oh my gosh, they looked at her. He was poor kid. They almost gave him a heart attack. He was just there to get the homework from the day before. So very overprotective over their sister. And Mark was like that with both of his brother and his sister, the younger ones, because that was his job. He's the older brother. And with me, wow, where are you going, Mom? Who's that, Mom? Who are you talking to, Mom? I'm like, calm down, boy. He loved food. Later, he became like a little chef himself. He would cook, and it was always really good. I would tell him, "Son, you should become a chef." "No, Mom, I don't want to do that." He actually went to the school, the LA School of Fine Arts, I believe, for music. Since he was little, he said he wanted to be a DJ. I was like, well, that could be, like a side something, but you need something you can fall on. He did go to that school for a while. He grew up so fast. It's kind of hard to picture that he was my baby that, I don't know, maybe because of the problems with his father in between their teenage years of the separation, I kind of block a lot of that out. And then all of a sudden he was a young man. My son started to change in his early 20s. He was more agitated of little things. He'd get upset more. He wasn't really sleeping. He was looking thin. And I've always been very naive about drugs. I really thought it was just alcohol, that he was just, was just getting drunk. He did tell me that he was into some stuff that he shouldn't be, but that he was going to fix it. And, kind of went from that. He met a girl, and now he's in his mid-20s, mid to late 20s. He's telling me that he got somebody pregnant. So, he'd say, "It's okay, Mom, I got this." He knew I was there for him for everything. He knew who to come to if he needed help. Then I met the girl, and she was actually my younger son's friend, very good friend. They were best friends. And she had claimed that she couldn't get pregnant. The doctor had told her a long time ago that it was impossible for her, and here she is pregnant. So they decide to have the baby. He's very excited, like over the moon excited, happy that he's going to be a daddy, and he's doing good. He's doing really good. He's working. Things are going good for him. And again, I see that he's not treating her right, and I'm wondering what's wrong. And she'll tell me, "Oh, we had a fight, this or that." And again, he tells me that he's doing something that he shouldn't, but he's going to fix it. And Now I find out it's not alcohol. It was a serious drug, and because of that, her pregnancy, it's difficult. She has a baby, and my son's under the influence, and of course we talked to him and kind of his dad, what are you doing? This, how could you do this? She's pregnant, she's in there having your baby, and so he's like trying to get sober, and I see that he's always kind of fought those demons within him. Since he was little, like I said, he says he can hear things, something in his head would tell him this and that, and his baby's here now and he's living with her, but because he's doing drugs, they break up and it doesn't work out, and now he has to see his son on the weekends when I pick him up, and that just, it broke his heart, but it's like he had nobody else to blame but himself. So my son has this little boy, and we pick him up every weekend because my son was on drugs. The baby's mom, my grandson's mom, wanted my son tested, make sure that he didn't have any drugs in his system before we can pick him up. So I started doing that. I remember one time I picked him up and he just looked so messed up. And I said, you gotta pee in here. He's like, okay, let me go. And I go, I'm not letting you go anywhere. We were in the car and I said, here, I'm gonna turn over and you're gonna pee in here. Oh, Mom. I said, no. And sure enough, it was positive. So I said, you can kiss your little boy goodbye this weekend and of course he blames me, he blames his mother. And I said, son, you have nobody to blame but yourself. And he didn't see it at that point like that, but so he leaves with his friends, and I sadly called baby's mom and tell her, and she says, okay. And I went home, and that was that. And, I can't talk to him. I couldn't talk to him when he was under the influence. I had to wait till he sobered up. And, of course, I would always give him advice. Now, you have no help because he's an adult. I would just tell him, you have to do it for yourself. You need to go to rehab. You have a little boy now. Don't you want to watch him grow up? And of course, he's telling me, yes, Mom, I'm sorry, Mom, I'm going to do better, Mom. And he started to do good. I seriously would have in my head that maybe one day I would find him dead, overdosed, or even, I'm pretty sure he was suicidal. But that was always a fear because he was always so messed up on the drug. He was somebody else when he was on drugs. I had recorded him. We had gone out to dinner and he was acting so strange. And I like to record it because I could show it to him when he was sober. But I never did. I never could. He did start to get clean. He did start, because he would see his little boy. He started to grow up. He was getting better, and then the fear of him doing anything kind of went away, because now I knew he had something to live for, his little boy. Now his son is 3. He's there all the time. He's looking good. He's working. He's got a car. He's picking him up. But for some reason, my son always had that black cloud above his head. It seemed like every time he'd do something good, something bad would happen to him. He'd get a ticket. He'd get pulled over. They take him into jail for what do they call it? He had a ticket he didn't show up for, or whatever. He'd always say, tomorrow's another day. Aside from everything, he was positive. So it was around Christmas time. I had received some news that one of my tests was abnormal, and he had told me he wasn't going to be there for Christmas. And I said, son, what do you mean you're not going to be there for Christmas? I said, your grandma's going to be there, your auntie, your brother, your sister. And he's like, I know, Mom, I'll be there in the morning. He never went out. He always had his little boy on the weekends. And I said, okay. I go spend time with your friends. I did tell him before that. I said, what if this is the last Christmas and that we get to spend together? But I meant it because of me, nothing about him was ever in my mind. And he just says, oh, Mom, don't say that. And He says, I'll be there in the morning. I said, okay. And I felt bad because, like I said, he had kind of like gotten away from all his friends, and which I wanted him to get away from all the bad friends that he was doing drugs with. And this was a new bunch, I want to say, a better bunch. So he did. He went out and he had his son Christmas Eve only for a few hours. I had already asked the mom if we could keep him later till the next day. She told me yes. But he says, no, Mom, I'm not going to be there, so I'm just going to take him home. And so she took him home. I'm sorry, he took him home, and then he went to his party, and then we had ours at home, and he showed up Christmas morning. And so everybody was still there. They had spent the night. I remember because I had this tiny little place, and the house was so full, and I was so happy because everybody was there. Woke up and had more food and more laughs, and, you know, just making beautiful memories. And his son was going to go away, I think, to Boston because her mom's dad's from there. They were going to go there, then somewhere else. So he didn't see him again for some time. And he was getting depressed. He's like, I really miss my son, Mom. I said, I know, mijo. My mother and I had gone on to vacation in Cancun, and he calls me. I remember we were on the bus. He said, Mom, I went to go pick him up, and he didn't want to go with me, Mom. I said, oh my gosh. I said, you should have just got him and said, no, you're coming with me. I'm your dad. We're going to go spend time together. You should have said, I'll bring you back, something. I said, but you should have taken him with you. He says, no, Mom. He even told me, I hope you break into a million pieces. He says, Mom, where does he get that from? Who told him that? I said, I don't know, mijo. Maybe he heard that somewhere. He says he didn't want to come with me. He was very, very sad. This was end of December. I come home, and then the baby's gone. He's depressed. Mom, I miss him. Mom, I haven't seen him. I told him, let's go out to dinner. And I would tell him here and there, son, I go, you don't think about doing anything stupid because, and he knew what I meant. I said, you come from a strong parents. I go, both your dad and I are strong, we're here for you. I could notice he was starting to let himself kind of go. His hair was long. He had lost a lot of weight. And he was like, I know, Mom, I know. That's what he would tell me. We went to his favorite restaurant. He loved going to Olive Garden. He got his lasagna, and we were just having a nice lunch. This was Saturday. My TV, our living room TV had gone out, so I had to buy a new one. And I said, mijo, are you going to be around later? In case I find a TV, you can help me. Yeah, Mom, no worries. Just call me. I said, okay. He goes, I'll probably be at my dad's gym. His dad owns a gym. And sometimes he'd stay over there because it was closer to work. So we left it at that. Sunday morning, I got up to go to church with my mom, and he was in the shower. I said, okay, son, I'm going to go to church with Grandma. Okay, Mom, love you. That was that. I said, I'll call you later. Okay, Mom. And then went to church, spent some time with my mom, and then I spoke with him later that night. He says, yeah, Mom, I'm just going to stay here at Dad's gym, and, it's closer to work, whatever. I said, okay, mijo, you be safe. If you want to come home, you can come home. Another thing was that I had told him he wasn't making a whole lot of money, and he would give his mom, baby's mom, money for the baby, and, whatever he had to pay. And I'd say, come home. He's like, no, Mom, I'm not paying you rent. I said, I never asked you for rent, son. I know how much you make. I know where your money goes. I go, I know you're not out there spending it on dumb stuff. I said, I did cry to him. I said, you have a warm place here. You have food, and you're safe here. I go, why do you want to stay over there? I know, Mom. I thank you, Mom, but I got to do this on my own, Mom. I need to be a man, Mom. I said, okay, son. So that was Sunday, and Monday I got up, went to work. Sometimes I wake up early to go drop him off at his dad's so I could come back and get ready for work. And I remember I have to make dinner for the boys because they come home, and I always wanted to make sure that there was food for them. I still remember that day like it was yesterday. I got up, went to work. What am I gonna make for dinner? Then I went to Paul's place, a very yummy hamburger place. I got myself a hamburger and some fried zucchini Went home. I used to get off at 2:15. Then I said, okay, I'm gonna make something for the boys. My 2 younger kids were in school to become LVNs, both of them, same school. And my son Alex, of course we love our children, but Alex is very cold. Marky was always hugging me, kissing me, always mom, and what do you need, and how was your day? It didn't matter if we had an argument the day before. The moment I come home, hi mom, how was your day? I miss that very much. So I'm thinking, what am I gonna make for dinner? And I'm watching TV, and he didn't come home. They didn't come home till like 6 or 7, and this was like 4:30. So then my phone rings, and it's my son Alex, my middle son, my younger son. And I'm like, why is he calling me? He shouldn't be calling me. He's in school right now. So I answer the phone, and he says, Mom. I said, yeah. I go, what's up? I go, well, why are you calling me? I go, you're in class right now. I know, Mom. And then his voice kind of breaks up. And he says, Mom. I said, what, Mia? He says, Mom, Mark killed himself. I said, what? He said, Mom, Marky hung himself. It's like I didn't hear him right. I didn't want to hear what he said. And he says, Mom, Marky hung himself in the gym. I said, I didn't say anything. I hung up and I got in my car and I drove as fast as I could. That was at least a 20-minute ride, and I got there so fast. I didn't care about anything. And I'm screaming Mark's name the whole time in the car. And I get there and there's cops everywhere. His dad's there and his brother's there, and they couldn't get a hold of my daughter. She was in class. They wouldn't let me see him. And I'm looking through the window and I could see his legs on the floor. And I wanted to hold him. I didn't get to say goodbye. I just wanted to hold him. He had just turned 30. But I didn't care how old he was. He was my son. He was my little boy. I wanted to run in there. They wouldn't let me. My mom came and was with me. My son Alex was there later. My daughter came. And of course, we're all in disbelief. We can't believe it. We cannot believe that it happened. His dad found him in one of the dressing rooms. He had hung himself from there. And then later we found out that it had to have happened in the very early morning, because they said something about an alarm that was set, but I don't know. They're saying that it happened very, very early in the morning, but the gym was so cold, and then it was December, and so his body was just cold. And cops were there. We were there for a long time. And I could say, I know why they want to let me in, but I just wanted to hold him. I couldn't believe it. I felt like I was numb. I just believed, and I wasn't there. I wasn't there mentally. I kept calling for him. I know why he did it, though. He was in so much pain. My son had a lot of pain. He felt like his little boy didn't love him, and like I said, so many things. Everything went wrong for him. He was always trying so hard. Like 2 nights before this happened, I was in the kitchen cooking, and I could see him, and he's saying, okay, my son's good. My sister, she's good. This is what I heard him say. I'm trying to make out what he's saying because the TV's on and I'm cooking, and he's like, okay, my brother, he's good. He's like, my mom, okay. And like he's just like reassuring himself, and I'm like, what are you talking about, son? Nothing, Mom, nothing. Just watching TV. And now I know what he was doing. Now I know why he was doing that. I said, Mijo, you gotta get a haircut. You gotta, clean yourself up. You gotta look a little more presentable. So I'm good, Mom, I'm good. But I didn't know that he was making plans. He was in a lot of pain. He was in so much pain that I always told him. He knew how much he was loved, and he knew I was there. I told him, I'm here for you. He says, no, Mama, you can't do any more for me. You've done enough. I wanted my son to become a man, and he did. But it was too much for him. He thought his little boy would be fine without him. In those few days after his passing, Mama couldn't sleep, Mama couldn't eat, Mama couldn't do nothing. I had a lot of family with me. My mom never left my side. She came and stayed with me, and my kids, my two other ones were still going to school and still working, and we were so loved and so missed. I think on Wednesday we went to go see for your services, and your dad was gonna go take care of that. I said, I want to go. I want to be there. We met there and we decided. I was always against cremation, but I wasn't when it came to you. I wanted you. I didn't want you in some far off place. And that was how I felt. I didn't want you there. So we cremated you and brought you home. You're with me. You're with your brother and your sister. And your son even wanted some of you. Your dad has a little bit of you, but I brought you home. Your services were beautiful. That place got so packed. I never knew that place was so big. I never knew it had a second floor. I've been to so many services at that place. And when I got up, it was packed. To the side, in the middle, outside, outside, on top. So many people came because they loved you. You were so loved. They had asked when we wanted the services. This was Wednesday. Your dad wanted to do it 2 weeks later. I said, no, I don't want 2 weeks. I want it as soon as we can. I can't do this for another whole week. They told us they had a spot that Saturday. I think they said we could be there from 12 to 12:30, so 15 minutes for your little boy and then 15 minutes for your mom and your sister and your brother. The whole time I was like, I don't want this to end. I didn't want it to end. I wanted to see you as long as I could. We had an open casket for you. Your Diosito cleaned you up and made you look like you, because he says, I got there and he did not look like him. His hair was everywhere. Your little boy his mom was afraid to have an open casket. She didn't want my grandson to see his daddy. And I said, he needs to see him, because he's going to wonder, where's my dad? How come my dad hasn't shown up? Where did he go? I said, no, you need to let him see him. I said, don't tell him he's asleep. Tell him he's resting to go to heaven. And then he calls for me. And he says, Grandma, is my daddy in that box? I said, yes, mijo. And he says, Grandma, and he looks at me and he looks at his mommy and he says, Grandma, I want to see my daddy. So I look at his mom and I said, let me talk to her. And then she was okay with it. So the whole time he wanted to see his grandpa, his mom's dad was holding him the whole time. He didn't want anybody getting in his way. He wanted to see his daddy. Like I said, the whole place was full of people. We had family from all over the place coming. It was beautiful. His friends, so many of his friends came. They ended up blowing up white balloons and writing messages to send to heaven to him. And one of my friend's co-workers, who lives far in Whittier, far that way, I guess the wind was blowing that way, because later that night she sends me a picture. Oh my God, girl, look at one of your son's balloons ended up in my yard. He knows, he sees it. It was amazing. It was amazing. It was truly amazing. It was beautiful. I got so many flowers. His dad and I were, it's always something we were not in good terms. He started giving away the flowers. I said, wait a minute. And my best friend was there with me. She says, I started taking flowers for you, friend. And even though I didn't take all the flowers like I wanted to, my house smelled like a florist. It was amazing. It was just beautiful to to have all those beautiful memories. I wanted to leave where I was living. I wanted to go far away and not be there, and because it reminded me so much of you. But then I remember seeing you there, and I could still see you there and smell you, and it was so unreal. I remember like the second, third, I wasn't sleeping anything, couldn't sleep. One of my mom's friends came and brought me medicine. I remember I took one and I started falling asleep, sitting down. I said, I'm going to my room. The second week I was asleep on the couch where you would sleep, and the TV was on. I remember waking up and seeing you on TV. You were on TV sitting on the floor with your legs out and your hands like this on your lap, like you always would sit, and you were smiling at me. I could see you looking at me and smiling at me, and I knew you were okay. I knew you weren't in pain anymore. As your mom, I carry your pain. But I'm happy that you're not in pain anymore. I miss you so much. It's almost gonna be 5 years. You know your mom's always been strong. I miss you. I cry for you. We have to continue for your baby and for your brother, for your sister, that you're in our everyday lives, son. And I wanted to do this because Nikki's wonderful. She's a wonderful person I've known for a while, since high school. Even though time we didn't keep contact, we saw each other again on Facebook, and I was like, whoa, I want moms, dads, parents to see the signs when your son needs help. Unfortunately, I couldn't help him. I couldn't help him anymore. And even now, I say that suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. For him, it was his solution. And I just wish that I could hold his son and take his son's pain. He's 9 now. And he's very confused and very lost. The pain that a child, the death of one of your kids bring is, I don't even know how to explain it, but I mean, I have family members and some friends that have lost a child. And you know, you feel for them, you're sad for them, but this is not a club, a membership that I wanted to join, but it's like you automatically feel the pain that they went through. Now, I mean, we always do everything in his memory. We always have him, we always involve him in everything. And like I said, now his son's getting older, and I just told him last weekend that if he had any questions about his daddy, because like I said, he's feeling it, that I was the perfect person to speak with, because that was my little boy. Every day is, I can't say every day the pain gets less, because it doesn't. Well, at least for me, it doesn't, but I learned to live with it. I'm very happy. Every married, Miguel is a wonderful, wonderful man. He's there for me. He cries with me when I cry. He holds me. He comforts me. My kids we always know that we got married on his birthday. Like I said, we involve him in our lives as much as we can. And every trip we take, we always say, come with us, son. Let's go.
So first of all, I want to really thank you for doing this.
Of course.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course.
So, you know, it's funny because when I was on my way over here, I just kept hearing, food, right? And I was like, okay, I know I'm not that hungry, right? And then once I get here, it's like, I just see him with the hat on and just turns it around. That's what I see. You know, baseball hat turned around like he's ready for business, right? Let's get our grub on, basically.
Yeah, that's what you would do.
But as soon as I came in here and I saw Miguel once again, he wants you to know that you are a great man. This is the happiest that his mom has ever been. He's like, there's no drama, there's no bullshit, it's just, it's there. It is what it is, basically. So he's saying thank you. He's also saying thank you for taking care of my mom. Okay? Because nobody else could the way that you're able to. And even though my mom's tougher than nails, so he's saying, he goes, she's not tough with you. So he's like, thank you. He's saying thank you. He's saying, you know, he loves everybody. He loves his son. He's always here. He celebrates every occasion with you, and even his son. He's talking about like, I don't know if it's a graduation or promotion or something. Something happened. Like certificate. I'm not sure with his son. But he's like, I was there. I was there. He says he comes and he visits his son at night. He says that he sits on the edge of the bed and he tells him bedtime stories.
Oh.
Okay. So he's saying it's important that somehow, some way, you can let him know that. It could be maybe when he's a little bit older. But he's saying that he's there with his son. He's guiding him. He's encouraging him. I never meant to cause any problems. And he's saying that night he was contemplating, like, should I do it? Because if I do, then all my problems will be gone.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's saying that when he was there thinking about this, he was thinking, okay, is my mom okay? Are my siblings, is my family okay? And he's like, everybody's okay. There won't be as many problems with me gone. Okay, that was his mentality.
Wow.
Okay, but he's saying at the same time, he knew that it was gonna be extremely difficult for you. But he's like, I couldn't keep causing all these problems, all this chaos. He was like, it was just kind of becoming too much. And he's kind of indicating that he was trying to dig him out of something that he just could not get out of. Okay, because he sees him in like a very deep hole with a shovel, and he's digging and he's not able to get out. He's like, it just kept getting higher and higher and higher. And he said he struggled, and he was trying to for such a long time. And said that the only thing that he could do was, he felt it was best if he could just sleep. But he's saying that he was already thinking about this months before. And he said it kind of got to the point where he's like, okay, it's too overwhelming, I'm drowning, and I think now's the time. Okay. But he's also saying that the day when everything happened, he's saying for a moment he actually chickened out. Okay. But then he was like, he kind of sat down and was like, okay, well, if I don't, then all these problems are not going to go away. The chaos is not going to go away. The heaviness that he felt is not going to go away. At that point, I just said, okay, I'm just going to do it. He said he did not suffer. Okay. He was saying it's as if I just closed my eyes and went to sleep. He's saying it's so important that you know that. And he's saying even though that it's still so very difficult for everyone, he's saying he feels the amount of freedom. Such an amount of freedom. He's saying, he's talking about a grandma, like a grandma came to get him.
Oh, his grandma. Yeah, he had two. He had his. Oh, you had told me a lady, a lady with gray curly hair, had gone to get him.
Well, the old lady with curly hair, he's saying it's his grandma. So he's showing me like wings just opening and closing. That's what he's showing me. And it kind of makes me feel like he had something going on, like some type of like a mental disorder.
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of feel because one day I'm really, really high, other days I'm really, really low.
Yeah.
So I do feel that he has struggled with depression throughout his entire life.
Yeah.
Okay, he is acknowledging that. He's also saying that because of the amount of drugs that he did, he's saying at first he thought it was going to help him, but it didn't. It was the total opposite. So he said that his highs were no more highs. He had nothing but lows, and he kept going lower and lower. And that's where he's referencing he was trying to dig himself out, and he just couldn't.
I know he was in a lot of pain, and like I said, every time he tried to do something else would happen. It's like I told Miguel, my poor baby, he tried. It's like he'd take a step forward and then he'd have to jump back. You know, it's like if it wasn't one thing, it was another. He was trying though, and he'd always say, "Tomorrow's another day, Mom." He was positive about it, and I would tell him the same thing. Tomorrow is another day, son. It's a fresh start.
He tried very hard. That's what he wants you to know. He tried very hard.
Yeah, I know he did. And I know that since he was little, I know that his dad and I separating, it hurt him so much. I know that was like the beginning of everything. That was the worst for him.
So he's saying that it's not your fault why he left, why he did what he did. He's saying he does not want you taking the punishment, basically. Okay. He's saying that you two could have had like this glorious life together. And maybe things would have turned out different, and maybe they would not have. That's what he's saying. But he's like, I don't want you blaming yourself for thinking that you did not do enough.
That I also know that I tried. That I know
He's
that
saying you tried too much.
That I did. Even though it hurts. I know why he did it. And some people say, I'm so angry at God. I've heard people say, I hate God. There is no God. I know there is a God because he took his pain away. So he accepted him and my son doesn't hurt anymore. And like I said, I'm not mad. I've never been mad. If anything, I thank God for taking his pain away. So my son was suffering a lot.
He was. But he's okay now. Yeah. He's saying that he loves you, Mama. That's what he's saying.
I know, sir.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
It still makes it a little bit difficult because I know you. So.
Thank you, Vicki.
No, thank you. Thank you for doing this.
Of course. If you need anything